As many of you know, I'm a graduate of the New York City public school system. I attended school here from K to 12. I've worked here and paid taxes here my whole life. Yet there are some people out there that would tell me, a native New Yorker, that I don't have the right to live in my own city. In this video, I'm going to talk about this disturbing and growing phenomenon that I have been honestly seeing a lot lately, especially online, of people saying that nobody has the right to live in New York City. And now, in theory, maybe I would agree with that in the sense that in order to live in the city, you have to earn your stripes. A lot of people say that, to be a native New Yorker, you have had to hustle here and go through the trials of tribulations of being a New Yorker. But they're not using it in that sense. When they say things like this, they're implying that if you're too poor to live in this city, you don't belong here. And it's crazy to me that people that are not even from New York, that are not originally from the city and are from other states and even other countries, are essentially telling native New Yorkers, get out, you don't belong in this city anymore. Like, how are you telling me that when I was here way before you? I was here when things were cheap, when things were more unsafe, when crime was higher. I've earned my right to be here. I've paid taxes here. I've opened businesses here. You're telling generations and families that have been here for so long, for hundreds of years, to get out. And many are leaving because they cannot afford to live in this city anymore and are being displaced. And how sad is it that the native population of a city is essentially being priced out and forced out by people that are not even really committed to being New Yorkers, but just have the money to be here and live here. And just because you can doesn't mean you should. This belief that New York City isn't a right is just disturbing and ridiculous to me, because how are you telling your fellow citizens that a certain part of the country is not meant for them because they're too poor to live there? Like, New York City is not a gated community. It is not a private community. It is for everybody. And in my opinion, anyone who can come to New York City has the right to live here. Sorry for sounding like a communist socialist, I guess, for believing in that. But my belief is that anyone who comes here should have some rights to live here if they choose. This city should not be only for the rich. This city should not be for the 1%. This city should not be for top earners. When the hell did we get this belief that New York City is only for people that make over $250K a year? Like, I don't understand this. And the problem is that the people who say things like this don't even realize that as a result, so many people that contribute to businesses and taxes here are leaving, and so we're getting so many bars and historic restaurants that are being closed, and what is being replaced with them? Like Starbucks and Lululemons. And it's like, do you want this city to become a corporatized big box city like any other? Because essentially this is what you're doing when you're prioritizing wealth over people that are actually contributing original and, forward pushing culture to a place. And it's just crazy that people have just become so money driven and so money obsessed that they can only see the numbers game. And honestly, that is just a problem that a lot of people that are moving to New York City are bringing to this city, because now everything is about how much you make and basically not what you can contribute to the city. A lot of the transplants that move to the city don't even enroll their children in the local public schools. They don't immerse themselves with the local culture. They just gentrify and displace people that have been here for generations, and then form their own little exclusive bubbles that have their own exclusive schools and own exclusive friends and so forth. And so it's like, why even move to New York City if you're just going to bring everything with you that you left behind wherever you're from? It's like, what is the point? And it's just like, there's a lot of people out there in this city that have a lot of money that really shouldn't be here, because just because you have the money and capital to move to New York City doesn't mean you should. This city is not for everybody in the sense that it's noisy, it's loud, it's full of a lot of trash. And so it's like, a lot of these people have cultures where, they're very used to cleanliness and quiet, and that really isn't compatible in a city like New York City, which has over 8 million people. So I really get bothered when someone tells me that I don't have a right to live in my own city when I've existed here since I was born and have been here way before any rich tech bro or corporate lawyer has even thought about moving to New York City. And it's just so frustrating that in a country like America, just because you have the money to be able to do so, that automatically you're prioritized and you're put first. Like, it's just a sad reflection on our culture, in my opinion. And I know this has become a worldwide phenomenon, but to me, it's just so unfair how people that have been here for generations and hundreds of years even are being kicked out and priced out of their own city just to make way for people that are not really going to mesh well with New York City culture. And honestly, most of them don't even stay here for the long run. A lot of them go back to where they're from, the states that they were born in, or just other countries. It's just like they're not dedicated to New York City. They're not truly invested in what the city offers because they don't even participate in the local culture. They don't immerse themselves with the local public scene and so forth. And it's just like, what is the point? All you did was displace poor people and brought your capital here, and that's it. You didn't really contribute anything else. And we are getting to a point in America where really, to people, nothing else matters other than money, 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 right? If you have money, you're good. If you can contribute money, you're good, and that's it. That's essentially what landlords care about the most. They don't care that they have renters and tenants that are actually, contributing to the city and opening nice mom and pop shops and unique businesses. They don't care about that. They just care if you have money, money, money. And this is why the city is in the shape that it's in, and this is why so many people are fed up and frustrated, because they feel like they are powerless and they can't do anything about it, and that the only way to be heard is to accrue capital and money. And obviously, not all of us can do that, because if we all could, then we all would be rich, right? Logic 101. And in New York City, a lot of people work multiple jobs just to make ends meet. For example, myself, I work multiple jobs. I do a lot of side gigs as well to earn side income, and all my coworkers work multiple jobs just to make ends meet. And a lot of us are still living paycheck to paycheck in the city because everything is so expensive. And it's wild that hardworking people are being told by others, you still don't make enough to live here. You're still too poor for the city. Get the hell out. Because that's essentially what these people who believe that New York City isn't a right believe, right? They believe that your only worth is by being rich, by attaining a lot of money. Then you earn or are worthy enough to live in New York City. And I don't know if this twisted logic is just a reflection of our society now these days, late stage capitalism, or just American greed. But it's truly a sad reflection because we are losing empathy and we are losing the ability to recognize that not everybody can be rich. It's like in American culture, poor people are seen as lazy and entitled, and it just couldn't be further from the truth. Like, poor people tend to be the ones that work the hardest, that work the most laborious jobs, that work the hardest jobs, the jobs that require the most physical exertion and effort, and they don't get paid their just dues. Same thing for the middle class as well. And so it's just like, why do we have such a narrow-minded and narrow scope and view on what it means to be a successful, hardworking person in America? You don't have to be a hedge fund manager or a CEO to be a hard worker. The person earning $15 an hour can also be a hard worker. It's just the value of work is only seen in how much money it pays, and that's the problem. There's so many jobs, so many professions in the United States where the workers are underpaid, teachers being one of them. And I've talked about this before as a teacher myself. And it's like, nobody can tell me that I don't work hard, because I actually care about my job and care about my students. And I always make sure I dedicate myself to them and their growth and their learning. But the salary that I earn doesn't reflect that effort. Does that mean that I don't work hard? Does that mean that I don't deserve to live in New York City? Does that mean that I should no longer live here because I'm too poor to live in this city, and so I should get on out and make way for someone from, California? This logic makes zero sense, and it's just frightening to see that so many people are starting to subscribe to these beliefs. Like, please don't lose your empathy. Don't lose your empathy for your fellow neighbors. Not all of us can pop out $250,000 a year just like you can. I'm sorry that we don't have that opportunity or privilege, because if we all could be making that money, trust me, we all would. But the opportunity is just not there for all these people to be making this much money. If everybody is rich, who would be poor? I don't know. I just feel like it's wild that some people just don't see that, and they don't see that in a system like capitalism, there's always going to be the poor and the rich. There's always going to be the little guy and the guy with the big bags. And so it's just like impossible to make a city only for the rich, because who is going to do the menial jobs? Who is going to do the jobs that require labor force? Like, come on now. You guys are not even using your logic anymore. So basically, the point of this video is to say that I would just like this narrative to stop. Nobody has the right to live in New York City, sure, but it's not because they're too poor to live in the city. It's because they are not going to contribute to the city. If you're not going to contribute to New York City, pay your taxes, immerse yourself in the local scene, send your children to local public schools, then what is the point of you even being here? You don't have that right just because you have more money than I do. It shouldn't be that way. And unfortunately, it is that way, and it has become that way. And that's why we're having so many problems with housing shortages and housing crisis. And honestly, this is why people like Zoran Mamdani have won the primaries for the mayoral race, because people feel hopeless and powerless. They want to feel like somebody is listening to their problems. And when you're told things like New York City isn't a right, well, you've already lost the ability to even have a conversation, because you're essentially telling these people that they don't even deserve to be here. They shouldn't even be here because they're too poor for this city. Where the hell are poor people going to go? Where the hell are the people that don't make $250,000 a year going to go? Tell me. Anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. I have a right to live in New York City because I am a native New Yorker. Nobody from Wisconsin or California or any other state or country is going to tell me otherwise because I am too poor or I don't make enough money to live in this city. This is my city. I've paid taxes here all my life, graduated from the public schools. I've earned my stripes to be here, and I will be here regardless of what you people have to say. But anyways, that's all I have to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what you think about this topic. Are you also a native New Yorker fed up with this type of mentality? Let me know in the comments because I love to hear from you guys. And if you haven't, don't forget to like and subscribe. Until next time, bye.